I just opened up the Q&A, and so I'll just start to take these in the order that they're there, and feel free to add some, and we'll just basically go until time is up. Either we have no more questions or time is up. So the first one is, it is difficult to make teams sit for 3 to 4 hours for INA. Can they be split up? Absolutely, right? We need to have empathy for people. Nobody wants to sit in a marathon meeting for 4 hours. We need to have breaks. I usually encourage a break after the system demo and a break after the metrics review. And then after we have the surfacing the problems, maybe take a short break before you go into your problem solving sessions. That's going to extend your time a bit, but again, it's empathy for people and respect for people that we want to have. So absolutely, you can split it up. I've seen them, people do things in the, part of it in the morning, part of the afternoon. The one thing you want to avoid is too much time between the demo and the metrics review, because people can quickly get distracted and go about their daily business and forget what they just saw minutes ago and what what the story behind the metrics were, the narrative behind the metrics, because that should feed problem solving. So splitting up, great, but just make sure you don't split it up so far that you lose the continuity of inspecting and adapting behind that. So hopefully that answered that question. Another question here is, what is one way a Scrum Master or team coach can support the inspect and adapt? One, that they're going to be helping the RTE gather metrics, right? So they're going to be a pivotal part of that overall collection of quantitative and qualitative metrics. They might even be helping product management with, hey, this is this team's part of the demo. This is where these fit in. If you want to help coordinate a seamless integrated demo that actually follows some sort of customer lifecycle or journey map, right? Help with that. Help interject with that. Say, I think we'll best fit here when we do the demo. You can interject that. And I use Scrum Masters all the time as facilitators to problem solving sessions, right? They are part of that. I mean, facilitation is one of the hats that Scrum Masters, team coaches wear on a regular basis. Leverage that, use that, and have them be a problem solving facilitator. So those are just 3 ways that the Scrum Master can support the inspect and adapt. And I'm sure there's many others, but it really helping with any demo coordination, helping with metrics collection, and helping with facilitating problem solving sessions. Yeah, that's the ways that I would suggest to start with. And then there's going to be other ways, right? There's always nuances that you can help with. And if you've got good leadership that are, that understand that many hands make for light work, hopefully they're engaging you in other ways as well. This next one from Jason. In the problem solving workshop, if you end the retro with 2 or 3 problems to solve and you let people choose which problem they want to contribute to solving, how do you ensure a small group size for the discussion? As I said before, I have no issue with many groups solving the same problem. So I would just cap, I would have I'd do maybe a feeling before breaking out into sessions as to what the passion is for each of those items we're going to problem solve. And if I end up with, you could do a quick dot voting. Hey, I think this is where I want to go. And you've got 50 people that all want to tackle this problem. Break it up into 5 problem solving sessions. You need to make sure that you've got trained facilitators for it, but break it up. Just because large groups, you just don't get as much engagement. People can multitask too easily. They'll be out of sight, out of mind. They'll just be listening, not contributing. We want contributors, and the best is done. I mean, all sorts of, different theories and mathematics and number theory talks about, smaller groups are going to problem solve better. So just understand, where that passion might be, where people's passion might be, and then make sure that you've got enough facilitators to break that up. If you don't have enough facilitators, you want to make sure that whoever's facilitating these sessions, that's probably one of the number 1 things, because if they don't know how to facilitate, it's not going to go well. So maybe you have to break that rule of small because of the number of facilitators you have. And that's okay. Just be creative. How do you engage people? Maybe you encourage some silent writing. first, and then, some divergent and then convergent thinking to get everyone contributing into that problem solving session. But, I would probably gauge where the passions are to see how many people, before I go and break into the sessions, how many people are interested in which topics, and then use that to drive how many problem solving sessions I might have to have for that one particular topic. And I think it's fascinating to have multiple groups problem solving the same thing, because you get many more creative answers. And it also helps you control the time box a lot better. So hopefully that answered the question. If not, feel free to post a follow-up and I will answer that.
We used lean copy. We had a bunch of folks that were remote during COVID, and we used sort of a lean copy approach to get the folks oriented around topics, and that worked pretty well, especially when we were having to do remote stuff back then.
Thanks, Corby. Yeah. Some examples of actionable metrics to help invoke improvements. Flow metrics. Flow metrics are designed to be actionable, right? When I look at like flow distribution, where did I spend my time? Is that what we had planned, right? That's actionable because it can compare, here's what my target was, here's what my actual was. I can actually use that. All my flow time, is cycle time going down, right? If I'm looking at flow time, flow metrics are all actionable. They are not vanity metrics at all. They are all actionable metrics. When I look at the histogram of where things are, across all the teams, predictability, those are all actionable metrics. Your DORA metrics for DevOps, if you're familiar with DORA metrics in DevOps, measuring things like your mean time to repair and what is the success of your releases. Some key quality metrics, right, around net promoter score, customer satisfaction. Those should all be actionable metrics. Some things when you get into counts, right, those are vanity metrics. Yay, we completed 1,000 stories. Well, what's the so what, right? What did those 1,000 stories actually provide to my customers? That's what we want to get at. So vanity metrics are things that just look good, but they're not actionable, right? I can't make a decision from it, but I can make decisions from the predictability charts, right? I can drive problem solving, right? Saying why, right? They're better about asking why questions, and there's a narrative behind it. Corby said, why did we have this blip in predictability? Did COVID affect us, right? We saw it, this mandate for people coming back to the office, and what did that do to productivity, right? You can actually see what corporate changes might have driven some actual engineering development, product development changes, right? So you can see those correlations. And that's what you want in terms of actionable metrics, where I can actually see where decisions have actually impacted that productivity, performance, throughput, flow, right? We want to look at those things. Other actionable metrics.
Go ahead. No, sure, go ahead, Doug.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say a couple of ones that we've implemented recently. One is it's a good standard practice to keep your most of your teams persistent, when you're applying Agile. And so one of the ones that we built was basically a measure of how persistent teams were. So we were looking at inflow, outflow of team members, team sizes changing, on a sprint by sprint basis, things that would indicate that they're not holding those teams persistent. And again, there may be perfectly valid reason for that, but at least it's a place somebody can take a look at. The second one is what we're calling a volatility metrics. And basically, when we start with a prioritization from our PI plan, then, there's always drift as people, as product owners start to inject in work and new things based on, life happening, right? And so what we're starting to measure now is how much drift has happened since the team launched onto their PI planning. And again, it may be perfectly legitimate. I mean, we're trying to be agile, but at the same time, there may be work that's getting injected in that doesn't fit the sort of objectives for the session. So just a couple other ideas for folks to kind of look at to help kind of keep things on an even keel.
Thanks. This next question: what are problem-solving methods that work? If done well, right, the fishbone and 5 whys work really well. right? But you have to have that strong facilitator that understands how they're supposed to work and understands how to ask the 5 whys, right? And have to really drill into, focus in on why, because, and then take that because and say, well, why is that happening? These really do work when implemented well, and they've been around forever, right? I mean, they've been around since the 50s or before, and they work. They're tried, true, and they work. But there are other methods, right? Just like, I mean, it'd be way too much to go in here. We could probably have a complete talk on just retrospective and problem solving tools that are available and techniques that are available. But there are many different creative brainstorming techniques. You can go to, there's books, there's Agile Retrospectives book that is a great way to identify and surface problems. There's tastycupcakes.org is one of my favorite websites to go to for ideas to surface problems. Right? Just type in, identifying problems, Google it, go to ChatGPT and say, what are some effective problem solving methods? And you'll get a bunch, right? So, and what is effective for one person isn't going to be effective for everyone. So you have to find what works for you, but then also mix it up. Don't get stuck in a rut of doing the same thing over and over again, because then, if you do the same thing over and over again, you might expect the same results. But maybe you want to mix it up to see if you can't uncover some new ways and something new, something fresh that nobody had thought of before. I only got about a minute left, but I want to try to quickly get this one. How would you deal with an art that doesn't want to do system demos because they say they have done them before and don't see the value in doing the system demo that they're doing after each event? I mean, this is a different demo, right? This is a much higher level, and everyone is attendance. I very much doubt that every member of the art has seen every other team's demo. This is an opportunity for them to see their solution in their contribution to the overall solution in the context of the integrated solution. Right? We have to sell it and pitch it that way, that we have different stakeholders, shareholders, investors, customers there. Right? This is the showcase of all showcases for the PI. And I think that's a PI. And you have to sell it that way. It is different audience, different context, and really a different outcome. So